Hello, I'm Chylli from Channel Chylli, also known as Chai, and I am back with more Saya no Uda. Sorry, I kind of... Okay, I'm fucking this whole thing up. Let's just get right into it. God damn it, I need to load my save, not click start game. Okay, so something I didn't understand last time. So when Saya attacked the neighbor and killed him, it says then tube-like appendages penetrate his ears and nose, wriggling deep into his skull. I didn't realize until I was thinking about it later, but that was actually Saya experimenting on the... She said she'd be able to do the surgery to fix Minori's brain. That was actually her experimenting on brain surgery, I think. And yeah, I just never really clocked that until after the video was over.
いいのよ。あなたたちみたいな人が来てくれたのは私としてもありがたいところだし。
Okay, that was just the next line of dialogue. I was scared I missed something. That friendly smile has none of the coldness one might expect from her sharp, refined beauty.
はじめまして。崎坂文則くんの主治医の田んぼです。
文則の友人で殿尾浩二と言います。彼女は筑波陽。
Yo gives a quick bow, her expression apologetic. When they arrived at the T University Medical Center and asked to see Fuminori's doctor, Koji and Yo had been prepared for rejection. They hadn't expected the ease with which their request was granted.
崎坂くんの件について話が聞きたいっていうことだけど、それは私の方でも同じでね。
はあ。
彼、おとといの診察に来てくれなかったのよ。留守電に入れた伝言にも返事がないし。
2 days ago, the same day Fuminori was searching that abandoned house, Koji frowns, wondering what was important enough for him to blow off his appointment.
彼、学校ではどんな様子？
どうもこうも。もうめちゃくちゃです。
Seeing Yo's shoulders jerk out of the corner of his eye, Koji regrets not choosing his words more carefully.
事故の前とまるで人が違ったみたいに見えます。僕たちもいろいろとどうしていいかわからなくて、それで今日は先生の話を伺えたらと。
あなたたちも医大生？
She asks out of nowhere.
はい。
彼のカルテ見てみたいと思う。
見せてくれるんですか、そんなもの。
Koji replies incredulous.
そう思った人がいるみたいなのよ。それも病院には無断でね。
Dr. Tombo regards him silently for a moment, then sighs and says,
おとといの晩、この病院に誰かが押し入ってね。保管庫から崎坂くんのカルテを盗んでいったの。
本当ですか？
She stares hard at the astonished students, then she shakes her head with a tired smile.
まあ、あなたたちは無関係そうね。ちょっと安心したわ。
当たり前です。
でも犯人は咲坂君の容体に興味があるか、それとも彼の治療記録を消したかったのか。いずれにせよ彼に関わりのある人間としか思えないわ。
はあ。
An ominous thought flashes through Koji's mind. It couldn't have been Fuminori himself, could it? Koji looks at Dr. Tombo and finds her staring right back at him. Her expression grave. He realizes that she must be harboring the same suspicion.
あなたには他に心当たりはない？咲坂君の知り合いでそういうことをやりかねないような人。
I mean, they know Fuminori couldn't have done it because he was at the Ogai residence that day. Perhaps Dr. Tombo didn't have anyone in mind when she asked, but Koji's thoughts immediately fly to that eerie house to which Fuminori led him.
知り合いだか何なのか自分にもよくわからないんですが、多分医者か医学関係の人で鴎外っていう。
Koji stops speaking as he sees the dramatic change that has come across Dr. Tombo's expression.
ご存知なんですか？
咲坂君がその男といつどうやって知り合ったのかわかる？
いえ、こっちが知りたいぐらいです。先生、一体何者なんですか？あの鴎外っていう人は。
After remaining silent for some time, Dr. Tombo releases a heavy sigh.
いいわ。その気になれば簡単に調べがつくことだし。鴎外正彦はうちの大学にいた教授よ。いろいろと不祥事があって半年以上前に免職になったけど。
不祥事って一体何を？
そこから先は部外者に話せることじゃないわ。どのみち咲坂君には何の関係もないことよ。
If they refuse to say, does it perhaps have to do with the missing newborn incident? Koji has no argument with which to answer Dr. Tombo's flat rejection. However, he can't shake the feeling that this Hogai person is the key to unraveling the mystery surrounding Fuminori.
先生、もしかしたら咲坂文則は刑事事件に関わっているかもしれないんです。
He says, making up his mind. At this sudden declaration, both Yo and Dr. Tombo raise their eyebrows.
どういうこと？
彼を訪ねていったっきり行方不明になってしまった人間がいます。もちろん文則は否定していますが。
それって近江ちゃんのこと？
Koji is unable to bear the shock in Yo's voice.
すまん、つくば。君には言えなかった。
Dr. Tombo is frowning, her expression even more serious than before.
その鴎外という人物が今文則の関心の焦点になっているらしいんです。彼が何者で文則が彼の何について探っているのか、それが分かれば少しは事情が見えてくるかもしれません。お願いです、先生、教えてください。この病院で一体何があったんですか？
Dr. Tombo hesitates for some time, refusing to make eye contact, but she finally shakes her head.
ごめんなさい。こればかりは私の一存で話せる事柄じゃないの。
先生。
でも少しだけ待って。私は私なりにいろいろと調べてみる。放っておける状況じゃないのはよく理解できたから。
お願いします。
Koji is out of options. All that's left is to trust this young doctor. It's frustrating, but a friend's rights only go so far.
お互い携帯の番号を交換しておきましょう。何か分かったら連絡するわ。あなたたちも何か新しい動きがあったらすぐに私に教えて。
ええ、わかりました。
What happened to me? Yosuke's awareness returns slowly as though rising from a bog. He's cold. No, hot. Something itches, like tepid tongues and cold slugs crawling over his skin. What the hell's going on? Timidly, he opens his eyes. It's everywhere. Oh, so she messed with his brain and made him see the world the same way Fuminori does? The thing that attacked him in the living room, it's everywhere. Terror shatters Yosuke's sanity. He throws off the thing lying atop him, but his wild flailing sends him crashing to the floor. But is it really the floor? The long, wriggling fibers of which should be the carpet are winding themselves around his fingers. The floor is made of worms. He tears his limbs free of the worms and tries to stand, but loses his balance and tumbles to the floor again. The worms immediately swarm over his body. Where am I? Where did that thing take me? Yosuke crawls around the worm-ridden floor towards the only exit from the pulsating room. When he gets outside, however, all he can see is blood, bile, and rotting meat. There's no place to run. Most terrifying of all, this hellish place has the same way out as Yosuke's house. In the half-mad daze, he wanders through the nightmarish mockery of his home. In the small room where his studio should be, he finds an easel made of bones displaying a blood-soaked canvas. Like some cruel joke, everything is exactly where it should be in Yosuke's studio. Howling, Yosuke lashes out against everything within reach. The easel of bone shatters, driving splinters into his fist. He feels the pain but does not wake from the nightmare. If this isn't a dream, then what is it? When his strength gives out, Yosuke falls to his knees sobbing. For the first time in his life, he prays. The sound of the door opening and closing grates on his ears. Downstairs, the front door. Is someone else here? Yosuke trembles at the blood-curdling sound. It's that thing again. The monster has returned. Yosuke hears the sound of something slimy sloshing its way up the stairs. Even as he cowers in terror, he slides his trembling hand across the floor and grabs one of the bones from the broken easel. The tip of the bone is nice and sharp. If he holds it in both hands and puts his weight behind it, he might be able to use it to defend himself. The monster's growls are getting close. Holding his breath, Yosuke presses his back against the wall next to the door. The pounding of his heart is like thunder in his ears, so loud that he fears the creature might hear it. He knows it will eat him if it finds him again, but it's all he can do to keep from crying. At last, the door creaks open. Yosuke leaps on the creature as it enters, fear turning his roar into a high-pitched scream. The flesh beast is covered in sludge and vile juices, but before horror can paralyze him, Yosuke brings his bone stake stabbing down. The monster screams as the stake pierces its chest and punches through to the other side. It falls back, writhing in agony. The sight of its pain sets Yosuke's blood on fire. I can win. I can kill it. If I finish it off before it enters my head again, I'm safe. Yosuke grabs the bone and twists with all his might. The monster convulses and gurgles, its trembling tentacles reaching up as though begging for help. Yosuke knocks it to the floor, then brings his heel crashing down on its flopping body again and again. With each stomp, its groans and spasms grow weaker. When the monster at last stops twitching, Yosuke, panting hard, tears the stake from its corpse and rises to his feet. Something squeals. Yosuke turns around to see another, a smaller monster, peeking out at him from the stair landing. There's still one left. His desperate, rage-filled attack both accelerated him and gave him a taste for violence. This one will be easier. It's smaller and weaker. Grinning maniacally, Yosuke raises his stake and moves towards the second creature. The monster flees, screaming down the stairs. Not about to let his prey escape, Yosuke roars and gives chase. The thought that killing the monsters might end this nightmare feeds his savage bloodlust. When the monster trips and falls in the dining room, Yosuke leaps on top of it and brings the stake crashing down. His bloodlust unsated, he pulls it free, then drives it again into the monster's flesh. Once, twice, 3 times and more, until there's nothing left but shredded, pulverized meat. Eventually, the only sound in the house is Yosuke's heavy breathing. He has slain 2 monsters, but the nightmare shows no sign of ending. Yosuke staggers to the front door and goes outside. So yeah, the guy just psychotically murdered his wife and daughter. The sky, the city, everything has gone mad. Twisted shapes, nauseating colors, stinking air. There is no escape, no end to the nightmare. The last remnant of Yosuke's sanity vanishes like dust on the wind.
こんにちは、おじさん。
Yosuke turns to the sound of a girl's voice. She is standing in front of the house next door, wearing a spotless one-piece over her pure white skin. In the midst of this filth-ridden world, she alone glows with beauty.
おじさんには私がどう見える？
ああ、とっても可愛いよ。
Yosuke feels a sudden black lust rise within him.
本当？ じゃあ実験は成功かも。
Yosuke walks up to the strangely jubilant girl and brushes his hand against her long, smooth hair.
こんな可愛らしい女の子はこの世界には君一人しかいないんだろうね。
おじさん？
He looks up at the man towering over her, perhaps disturbed by his hungry stare.
お嬢ちゃん、おじさんと遊んでくれるかい？
いいけど、何するの？
A grin parts Yosuke's lips and he replies,
そりゃあもうおじさんが楽しめそうなこと全部さ。
With that, he grabs the girl's collar and tears the front of her dress wide open. Shock and fear twist the lovely girl's delicate features, stimulating Yosuke's sadism. Even after killing those two monsters, the embers of violence still smolder in his heart, and now they have new fuel to burn.
いい顔だよお嬢ちゃん。おじさんにもっと可愛らしい顔をして見せてくれないかい？
The terrified girl flees into the Sakisara house. Yosuke runs after her, feeling the joy of the hunt.
いや、来ないで！
Even in desperation, she has no hope of outrunning his long stride. Yosuke charges down the hallway and catches up to her in the kitchen. He grabs her from behind and wrestles her to the floor before she can resist.
離して！そんな、どうしてなの？
Okay, made a small cut so I know where to censor.
だから言っただろう。お嬢ちゃんが可愛らしすぎるからだって。
Enjoying the sensation of her thin arms struggling futilely against his grip, Yosuke uses his weight to hold her down while ripping off her remaining scraps of clothing.
嫌だ！こんなの嫌！やめて！
Okay, I think I'm going to turn off voices here. Yosuke stares at the smooth, perfect body of the girl, flopping beneath him. Entranced by her cherry-like nipples, soft yet tight belly and narrow waist, the thought of violating such an immaculate creature amid the horrors of this twisted world is irresistibly erotic. This is from the, same guy who wrote Fate, by the way. Okay, sorry, I was just checking how long I've been recording so far. Yosuke runs his tongue over his stomach and chest as though preparing to eat her whole. He stiffens and whimpers at the sensation. It isn't supposed to be this way. Her tear-choked voice satisfies Yosuke's lust for conquest. The nightmare has violated him, but now he is able to visit the same torment on this innocent girl. Where he was the victim, he is now the victimizer. The release he feels is intoxicating. His manhood is ready and waiting, so he frees it from his pants as he playfully prods the girl's tightly shut slit with it. He finally starts crying in earnest. Couldn't Saya just kill him? Like at any time? No, stop. I'm scared. Suminori. I haven't even done anything yet. Putting his mouth close to the sobbing girl's ear, Yosuke whispers, If you're this scared already, how will you scream when I put it in you? Staring into her wide-open eyes, Yosuke drives himself deep into her body. The girl screams in pain as he forces himself through her still dry slit. Yosuke is surprised by her lack of a hymen, but even more so by the sensation of her inner folds. Much too welcoming for such an immature-seeming girl. Oh my, you're awfully used to men. You look cute, but you're really a dirty little girl. This is written by the same person who wrote Fate, by the way. No more, don't hurt me. No, Yosuke smiles. I think I have to punish you for being so naughty. Yosuke begins to move inside her, each violent thrust forcing a cry from her lips and tears from her eyes as her head jerks in agony. Soon she loses the strength to resist and goes limp, concentrating instead on enduring Yosuke's cruelty. Yet she still stares tearfully, pleadingly into Yosuke's lust-inflamed eyes as he pounds mercilessly into her flesh. Why? Why aren't you gentle? Because you're adorable, Yosuke roars, his breathing wild with passion. You're too pretty not to hurt, too beautiful not to break. The girl's choking gasps, the despair in her eyes, they only intensify his ecstasy. Help me, Suminori. Let me re-enable voices now. As always, the sights of the city grate on my nerves. Today, however, I don't feel as much hatred as I usually do. I've grown more accustomed to my condition, but that's not the reason for today's high spirits. My search of the Yogai house has finally borne fruit. When I pulled all the drawers out of the desk in the study, I found an envelope stuck between the desk and the wall. It must have fallen off the back of the writing tray. Inside, there were 3 outdoor photographs. I couldn't recognize the scenery due to my condition, but I'm pretty sure that they show 3 buildings. Scrawled on the back of each photo was an address. Nagano Prefecture, In Village. Tsuchiya Prefecture, S-Town. Shizuoka Prefecture, H-Town. None of the names are familiar, so they must be way out in the countryside. The photos are all dated more than 10 years ago. I don't know why they were taken or what they mean, but maybe Saya will be able to make some sense of them. In any case, this is something that even Saya missed while she was living in that house. I wonder how she'll react when I show her what I found. Saya, I want so badly to see her. The thought of her waiting for me speeds my footsteps. When I step through the gate, I see that the front door is wide open again. This is the second time that this has happened. On entering the house this time, however, the sound of Saya crying chills my blood. And it's not just her. I also hear a low, wet grunting. There's no time to take off my shoes. I race down the hallway, propelled by a terrifying premonition. A monster is in my house and it's raping Saya. The filth oozing from its body spreads across her skin as it drives itself with animal ferocity between her weakly trembling thighs. The monster forces its grotesque penis deeper and deeper into her, each brutal thrust warping her vagina in clearly painful ways. I think I need to disable voice acting again. Each time the beast moves, Saya's sobs become cries of agony. He looks at me with tear-filled eyes and calls my name in a weak, breathless voice. Suminori, help. Rage erupts inside me like black lava. The monster stops gorging itself on Saya's body and turns its head to look at me. Surprised by my own composure, I slip past it and grab the meat cleaver sitting next to the sink. Without a moment's hesitation, I slash at the monster's face. It screams and staggers away from Saya. My attack must have blinded it because it flails its tentacles wildly as it tries to drive me away. I actually think I'm good to keep voices on here. My bloodlust still unsated, I calmly seize one of the appendages and plunge my weapon twice more into its quivering flesh. The blade enters its body with fascinating ease. Each strike sprays my face with its blood. As I carve the monster to pieces and savor its hideous screams, my mind is finally consumed by rage. No mercy. I'll see this monster suffer for what it's done to Saya. I give myself to the fury, howling at the top of my lungs as I slash and slash and slash and slash. Even after the flesh beast stops moving, I keep slashing until I realize that it can no longer feel pain. Cursing myself for killing it so quickly, I stab the cleaver into the floor, snapping it in half. When my thoughts finally begin to regain some cohesion, I find myself still digging the broken knife into the floor. The monster is gone, but pieces of it are scattered everywhere. I stop cutting into the tile, and in the sudden silence I hear Saya's faint sobs coming from a corner of the kitchen.
Saya.
I pull the cowering Saya into my arms. She stiffens in fear at first, but as soon as she realizes that it's me, she clings to my body and cries.
Midori! Midori! 怖かった。怖かったよ。
I don't know what to say. I can only keep holding her. This should never have happened to Saya. Everything in this twisted world is to blame. Yes, including myself. I couldn't protect her. If I'd been here, then maybe I could have prevented this.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
He says again and again, and the voice choked with tears. Not wanting to hear that from her, I pull her head into my chest.
さやは何も悪くない。さやのせいじゃない。
I try to reassure her, but she shakes her head vigorously in denial.
違うの。私がやったの。
I don't understand. What is she saying?
君がやったって何を？
私、この人の脳をいじったの。この人の頭の中を文則と同じ状態にして、文則が感じるのと同じように世界が見えるようにしたの。
He answers, glancing at the dismembered monster with her swollen eyes. It takes me some time to understand the meaning of Saya's words.
それは一体どうやって。
Finally regaining her composure, Saya responds to my confusion in a low voice.
私にはそういうことができるの。他の生き物の体を組み替えたり調整したり、私に生まれつき備わってる能力なの。どこをどういじればいいのかはその生き物によってまちまちだから、ちゃんと勉強してからでないとダメだけど、文則の脳に何があったのか私は下調べして分かってたから。だから同じことができるかどうか他の人で実験してみたの。
なんでそんなことを。
そうすればみんな文則みたいに私に優しくしてくれるようになるかと思って。
Wow, that's honestly pretty sad. My heart aches at the loneliness in her voice as she confesses her sorrowful wish. Yeah, honestly, same Fuminori. I feel bad for her.
それなのにこの人は全然優しくなんかなかった。さやのことをいじめたいって壊したいって言ってあんな。
Saya starts crying in my chest again. Unable to say any more, I gently rub her back while trying to get my jumbled thoughts together. What is Saya, that she can do such a thing? The answer is beyond me. However, there is one thing I can answer, here and now. Saya is mistaken.
僕がさやに優しいのは僕が事故に遭ったからだって、そう君は思ったんだね。
I can almost guarantee that is in fact the case. He nods sadly. I smile and shake my head.
違うよ。それはただの始まりでしかない。そんな簡単なことじゃないんだよ。僕とさやが出会って、それから二人で過ごした時間のその一日一日の積み重ねが今の僕らの関係を作ってるんだ。わかるかい？
文則。
あの日から今日までさやと一緒にいた僕だから、さやに優しくして大切にしてあげたいって。
I honestly never thought I would feel sympathetic, perhaps, towards Saya. She seemed to relish in people being scared of her before. I didn't know she ever felt like that.
そう思う僕になった。そう思われるさやになったんだ。これって大変なことだろう。
I is still crying, but now her tears feel warm against my chest.
分かってる。さっきやっと分かった。
Her smile shines through her tears.
さやには文則しかいないんだって。文則みたいな人はもう他に誰もいないんだって。
Now more than ever before, I feel the depth of the bond between us. I'm sure that Saya feels it too. I wrap my arms tightly around her and seal her lips with mine. Saya responds, winding her arms around my neck as her tongues desperately seek each other's warmth. At this moment, Saya is my whole world, and I am hers. As the earth turns for us alone. Of course, I still haven't told her something very important. I don't know why I haven't said it before. Perhaps it's because I was always so obvious. However, I should put it into words at least once. This oath of mine.
さや、僕は君のことが。
待って。
She stops me with a finger against my lips.
その前に、みのり、一つだけ確かめさせて。あなたの望みを。
僕の望み。
Saya nods, staring into my eyes with unusual solemnity.
さっきも言ったけど、私には私にしかできない方法で生き物の体に干渉できる。人間の脳をいじる方法もこれでちゃんと確認が取れたわ。だから
Saya pauses and takes a deep breath before continuing.
今ならあなたの頭を元の状態に戻すこともできるの。
なんだって。
Until now, that hasn't even been in the realm of possibility.
その人にやったのと逆のことを海のりにしてあげればいいだけ。とっても簡単なことよ。
I replay Saya's words in my head to be sure of their meaning.
だから海のり教えて。あなたが昔の暮らしに戻りたいかどうか、あの事故で失ったものを取り戻したいのかどうか。
Let me save really quickly. I think the top one is probably an ending, so let's do that one first.
そりゃもちろん戻れるっていうのなら元に戻りたいと思う。
I answered without thinking. Never wondered if there could be any other answer. I stopped dwelling on the question a long time ago, and if I'd been asked before I met Saya, I wouldn't have hesitated. But what about now? What does it mean to wish for the past, and what could it do to me and Saya? As soon as these questions occur to me, my true feelings become unclear. The hurried answer I just gave her was less certain than I thought.
そう。そうよね。当たり前よね。
Saya smiled softly, her expression an unreadable mixture of what seemed to be sorrow and relief. Saying it fills me with sudden unease, as though I've just wounded her deeply with my careless words.
なさや、僕は。
いいの、海のり。もう何も言わないで。
Saya silences me with another kiss and thrusts her tongue into my mouth with even greater passion than before. As the sweet softness of her tongue clouds my mind, I begin to feel an urgent need to say what she prevented me from saying. To speak those most important words.
さや。
I can't speak for some reason and my mind is hazy. My consciousness is slipping away as the euphoria from her kiss spreads to my entire body.
おやすみなさい、海のり。
I hear Saya whisper softly from far away.
心配しないで。次に目が覚める時には何もかもが終わっているから。
Wait, I have to tell you something before I go to sleep. Just one thing. My efforts are meaningless, however, as oblivion calls me into its embrace. When I awoke, the first thing that greeted me was a terrible stink. Mr. Suzumi's body was covered in flies, and I could smell the rotten stench that you would expect from a corpse. The night had ended, with Saya was nowhere to be seen in the morning light. Aside from the blood-covered floor, the kitchen looked the same as it had before the accident. In the den, however, the colors that had been so soothing the day before were now a stark reminder of what a distant world I'd been living in. Despite knowing that it would be futile, I wandered the house searching for Saya. For almost an hour, I tried in vain to deny reality. Then I called the police. When the operator answered, I couldn't stop myself from crying. It had been such a long time since I'd heard a human voice other than Saya's. As became clear later, Mr. Suzumi had murdered his family before I killed him. Unable to give the police a satisfactory explanation, I was arrested for all 3 murders, and when they found the remains of Takahata Omi in my house, a 4th was added to the charges. During the interrogation, I told them everything exactly as it had happened, in every detail. The detectives didn't believe me, of course, but the doctor who came later did. He had me moved from the jail to a much cleaner white room. That's right, this room looks just as white to me as it does to everyone else. In the end, they declared me incapable of answering for my actions. Everything that had happened to me was real, but part of a reality incompatible with the rest of the world. The doctors gave me a space all to myself, a place where I could live in my own world. I'm sad that I wasn't believed, but I know that it couldn't be helped. In this world, reality is what the majority says it is, and I had the misfortune to step outside of that box. The walls of my room are undeniably white. That at least I can be thankful for as I live out the rest of my life here. Everyone said that there was never any girl named Saya. Well, so be it. Saya probably was never part of their world. But why shouldn't I be able to hear Saya's voice here in my room? This is my world after all, a continuation of the very real time that we spent together. How long did I wait with such thoughts floating through my mind? One night I awoke to the sound of something crawling down the hallway. The sound would not normally have woken me up, but I must have had a premonition that night. Sleeping lighter than usual, I had waited for her arrival, and so I knew instantly that it was her.
サヤなんだね。
She did not answer, but I could feel her outside my door, struggling with some internal conflict.
なあ、どうして声を聞かせてくれないんだ。
After a long silence, something small went through the narrow bars of my peephole. It was a cell phone, the screen already showing a notepad with freshly entered text. My voice will sound strange to you. I couldn't suppress a chuckle at Saya's uncharacteristic display of shyness.
そんなこと僕は全然気にならないよ。君の声が聞きたい。姿が見たい。
I said, sending the phone back through the bars. After a short pause, the phone returned to my side. Please, let me say the Saya you remember.
そうか。
I started to suspect that it might be so. In the hell my eyes had made of the world, Saya alone had looked normal. I thought that she was somehow unique. In truth, however, she had probably been a very different kind of unique than I had imagined. It wasn't that my senses hadn't distorted her appearance, but that she had been so unusual as to seem normal to my twisted mind. Saya's true form was something other than what I had known. Now, however, I could see her as she really was. But Saya didn't want that, and it was not for me to question the workings of her heart. I just had to accept that girls need to keep some things private.
あの日君に言おうとしてたこと保留になってたの覚えてる
I slid the phone back to her. I was hoping he had forgotten. I smiled wryly at the text on the screen, wondering if she really thought me so heartless.
忘れたりするもんか
No one was listening, but still it would have been embarrassing to speak the rest aloud, so this time I typed it into the phone. JKLMNOPUWXYMNOPU. I slid the phone back through the slot. I could sense her trembling outside my door. I couldn't hear or see her, but still I knew. Saya was crying.
僕は構わなかったんだよ
Perhaps my words offered no comfort spoken so late. Even so, I was ready. I had wanted to return to my old life, true, but I would have abandoned that wish for Saya. I know that I would have gone with her hand in hand as far as we could, even to the most forbidden of places. Saya too must have known that I was prepared, and because she knew, she stopped me from saying those words. If I had spoken that oath, there would have been no going back. I'm sorry I was a coward. Saying the words on the screen, I shook my head.
君だけが悪いんじゃないあの時僕に迷いがなければ君だって勇気を出せたそうだろ
I was afraid of you, of how you were changing because of me.
仕方ないさ
Saya couldn't bring herself to take everything from me, and I couldn't bring myself to give up everything for her. We were too weak to find happiness.
さやはこれからどうするんだい
I'll keep searching for my dad. He'll know how to send me back to where I came from. Okay, so she's absolutely some kind of like eldritch monster that Dr. Ogai summoned somehow.
そうか帰りたいんだねさや
A short time passed with no words or messages exchanged. I wonder how many times in that brief silence yes and no changed places in her mind. Yeah. When the phone finally returned, the characters on the screen seemed so strangely uncertain.
そうかお父さん見つかるといいね
I'll do my best. The time had come for our parting. He had chosen her path and I had given my blessing. There was nothing more to be said.
もしも気が変わったら僕はずっとここにいるからいつでも来ていいからね
I will. Thank you. Goodbye, Suminori. I read her final message and returned the phone to the other side.
さようなら、さや。
She gently slapped my door in response, and then I heard the sound of her sliding off down the hallway. And I was left alone in the silence of the night. Ever since that day, I have been waiting. Perhaps Saya really did return to where she came from. Perhaps she is still wandering today looking for her father. It must be hard. He must be lonely. When she can no longer stand being alone, she will surely return to me. I'm the only one who will comfort her and whisper sweet nothings into her ear. And so I wait, dreaming of her face and her voice. I wait. Forever in my white world. Damn, that was a pretty sad ending. Same person who wrote Fate, by the way. But yeah, that's one of the endings of the game. I don't know how many there are, but we'll see all of them. Still just think it's hilarious that this is the same dude who wrote Fate. And alright, there we go. Let's load back to our choice and choose the other option then. On that terrible day when I first opened my eyes, after the accident, what would my answer have been? When I think back on this many years from now, will I wish that my answer today had been different? It doesn't matter. Here at this very moment, there is no doubt in my mind.
あの人は誰だったんだい？
I ask Saya, looking at the unidentifiable pieces of the monster.
隣の家に住んでたおじさん。名前は知らないけど。
ああ、鈴見さんか。
He was hardly a stranger, We have been neighbors for as long as I can remember. I'd go so far as to say we were on good terms before the accident. And now I've killed him with my own 2 hands. I feel a little... Mr. Suzumi is a kindly painter who lived next door is but a distant memory. The pieces of meat around me belong to a creature whose mere existence was nauseating. Only by killing the vermin could I find relief. He complained about my yard being filthy, the swine. It doesn't matter what Saya did, he wasn't worth keeping alive anyway. These are my honest feelings. My hands are wet with another man's blood, yet I am utterly calm. Now I know what I lost in the accident. Saya says that I can take it back, but I know that I cannot. It is gone forever, like the life of the man called Suzumi. Sorry, I did that last time too.
なあさや、僕の異常を治すことは医者には絶対できないことだったんだ。
文則？
人間にできないことを簡単にできるっていう君は人間じゃないんだね。
うん。
Finally, he is saying it. Saya looks away, her expression unreadable. Everything is monstrous and loathsome in my eyes. Everything but Saya. I thought that she was somehow unique. I was wrong. I see her just as I do everything else, as something other than what she really is. But why should that surprise me? Saya is part of my world, just as I am part of hers. It doesn't change what we are to each other. I stand and walk over to Suzumi's dismembered corpse.
昔読んだ漫画でさ、事故から生き返ったせいで世界が当たり前に見えなくなる男の話があった。今の僕みたいにね。
I finally realized that even through the stench of these monsters' flesh turns my stomach. Their blood and guts smell pretty good. In fact, I know this fragrance quite well.
その男の目には人間が石くれに、機械のロボットが美女に見えるんだ。だから男は人とは似ても似つかないロボットに恋をしてしまうんだ。
I retrieve the cleaver, take up a piece of Suzumi's body, and start removing the skin and tendons. Ah, just as I thought. The stuff underneath is exactly the same as what Saya and I have been eating.
なあ、これうまそうだし食べちゃおうか。
文則？
あ、ごめん。今はそんな気分になれないよね。でも死んじゃえば肉は肉だし、捨てるのももったいないと思わないか。また冷蔵庫にしまっておこうよ。
あなたはいいの？
いいよ。
I answer easily. There is no longer any room for doubt in my mind.
あと、隣の家に奥さんと娘さんがいるはずなんだ。旦那がいなくなったら騒ぐかもしれないし、通報される前に飼っとこうと思うんだが。
Jesus Christ, Fuminori.
そんな風であなたはいいの？
I asked again, this time with a trace of fear in her voice. I guess I still haven't convinced her of my sincerity.
さっきの漫画の話だとね、人でないものを愛した男は最後に自分が人間であることをやめて恋を成就させるんだ。ハッピーエンドだよ。だろ？
文則。
さやと一緒にいられるのなら僕はもう何もいらない。何もかもこのままでいい。
Passing the knife and meat aside, I pull Saya into my arms once more.
もう言ってもいいよね。さや、君のこと 愛してる。
As Saya wipes away the tears flowing from her eyes, I can no longer see any hint of fear in her face.
あなたのこと後悔させたくないのに、なのに。
I've sworn my oath and Saya has accepted it. We have nothing to fear now. Saya will never need to cry again.
でも嬉しい。私って身勝手だよね。
身勝手でいいよ。さえのわがままなら聞くよ、僕は。
Filled with contentment, we exchanged a smile and set to the task of cleaning the room. A single person produces a lot more meat than I expected. Speaking of which, I seem to remember doing something similar before.
あとの2人だけど、多分おじさんが殺してる。悲鳴とか聞こえたし。
そうか。そりゃ好都合だ。
After we finish here, we should go gather the meat from the Suzumi house. That should be enough to hold us for a while, and we can use their refrigerator to store what won't fit in ours. It's all coming together. Saya and I will be just fine.
この写真知ってる？
Okay, well, I think that's where I'm gonna end it off for today's video. Alright. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I think we made some pretty decent progress for today. And we'll be back next time to continue playing more Saya no Uta. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye!